So today we're going to be demonstrating how to measure a dress form or a person properly for any of your projects. We're going to start off with defining some of the key points that you're going to need to know for measuring. A couple of the places that you need to know is your bust. Your bust is your chest, and that kind of goes between both genders. Your apex is the tallest point in your bust. Your overbust, your underbust, your waist, and your hip. You also have your shoulder and your neck and other common areas that we are pretty familiar with. Some of the ones that might have a little bit more difficulty understanding is neck point. And neck point is actually the break between the neck and the shoulder. It's just like this little kind of corner that happens between each part. The next one is our shoulder point, and our shoulder point is just again the break that point where it turns from our shoulder to our neck, our arm. You can actually kind of feel sometimes like a bone right there, so that helps kind of identify that spot. We also have our center front, and again we have our center back. And those are also areas that you're going to need to know because you're going to need to know the equal distance from certain parts of our body. We also have our waist. Our waist is not where our pants hit. Our waist is the smallest part of our body, usually above or kind of at the belly button line. It varies from person to person. Another common misconception is our hip line. Our hip line is not 8 to 9 inches usually under the belly button. A lot of people are shaped a little bit differently, and it's the best way I know how to describe it is that it's usually the fullest part of your hips. So I think besides a couple areas, besides around neck and your underarm side seam, I think we're good to start learning how to actually measure. There's a couple different things that you may need to measure. One of the main ones being around the bust completely. We'll need to know that. Around our hip completely. A lot of times we're going to need to know from our shoulder to our neck point, from our shoulder point to our wrist, so we can get a good sleeve length, and then finding the neck point at center front, and then measuring down to our waist to get our center front length. These are going to be your most common measurements that you're going to need, either if you're ordering something online or if you're actually making something from a custom pattern. So now I'm going to introduce my mother, actually, who's going to be practicing some of the things I taught today. So now I'm going to ask you to measure a few key points for me to make sure that everyone understands. First one I'm going to have is, let's do all around our waist, our total waist measurement.
Okay. All right.
And what do we have?
29.
29. The next one I want to see, let's see from shoulder point to neck point.
Six.
Okay, now let's try one that I did not demonstrate. Let's do center front to our apex.
Okay, from here to here.
And what do we have?
4.
4. And one more. We are going to do our neck point at center back to our waist measurement.
14.
That's great. And that is all I have today on showing our measurements.